Welcome to the Air Power Airwaves, the Air Power Manufacturing Solutions podcast series where we talk about manufacturing issues that impact you.
Hey, it's Travis Steerwalt. Welcome to another edition of Air Power Airwaves podcast. I have some special guests with me here. Both of them first timers on the podcast, so always like that. I'll start with our guest here. Tony, how are you?
Good, I'm doing well.
This is Tony Lenardi, who is, I'll let you tell us, what do you do with Harrington?
Yeah, so I'm the Mid-Atlantic sales rep, so I cover most of Eastern PA, Western New York, Maryland, South Jersey, Delaware.
Okay.
Market. Yep.
But you're kind of our internal go-to guy.
Yeah, I also do the academy training, which is where we bring in the engineers, and we do a lot of that training that way too.
So we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Segue over to Mike Rogers. How are you, Mike?
Good.
So, Mike, you are an application specialist like myself with Air Power.
Correct. I just focus on
different area.
I focus on material handling, so I've got to pick things up and set them down guy from the North Carolina line to Florida over to Mid.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the line here really quick with something I want to ask you. When you talk about material handling, that obviously conjures up different ideas from different people watching potentially or listening. So be specific for us in your realm of handling as an application specialist in material handling. What does all that encompass?
It encompasses basically the cranes, the hoist, overhead push-pull, and powered cranes up to 100 tons, really. Okay. My original focus when I started with Air Power was the 500-pound down lifting. With the addition of Harrington to our product line, it allows us to focus on the heavier lifting, but both custom manipulators, that odd part that we're trying to eliminate the back injury, increase ergonomics, increase the productivity, make the plant function faster, easier, and smarter.
I mean, some of what you're lifting with these products, no human should attempt to lift.
I get tired of looking at somebody trying to hang the hoist. So.
Yes. I mean, I've seen some strongman competitions. Those are pretty interesting, but a little out there. All right. So we're going to go down through a lot of different things here. If you hear something or you see something that we're talking about that you want more information on, you can call Air Power at 1-800-334-1001 or go online to our website at airpower-usa.com. Now, on to the subject matter. So, we've done our introductions. So, we're going to be talking a lot today about cranes and, jib cranes, hoist. And when we did our initial conversation, I don't remember who said it, but it was hilarious. And I quote, "Nobody woke up this morning giddy to buy a crane." Oyster a crane. So I wrote that down. I had to say that. I think we need to put that in quotes up here. No one woke up this morning giddy to buy a oyster a crane. But we also talked about things that we wanted to get across to those people that are either currently using a certain system or could use a system from Harrington Hoists.
Absolutely.
So, Air Power, as you just said it a minute ago, talking about how things have kind of morphed a little bit. We've taken on Harrington Hoist. But I guess most of that when Air Power acquired Zenmar,
correct,
was when Air Power really moved into this space with that acquisition, because that was their bread and butter. Right, as a company. Were you involved with them prior?
I was, yeah. Zenmar, which is now obviously under the Air Power umbrella, was always a loyal distributor of Harrington. We've done a lot of great business together in the past, and we're starting to see that now throughout the entire organization through Air Power.
Good.
Yep.
So break it down a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about Harrington Hoist. Give us some background. Give us some history, possibly background.
Absolutely. Harrington's been around for over 150 years. We've really been centralized. Yeah, it's amazing. But we really centralized kind of in eastern Pennsylvania. We eventually started moving west. We're headquarters out of Manheim, PA. with 4 manufacturing facilities in Manheim, Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, South Holland, Illinois, and then on the western side of the country, Corona, California.
Okay. So that takes us back to what, 1870?
That's Horse and Carriage days.
Something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, were these hoists lifting loads on and off of, trailers? They were being pulled by,
It could have been like 6 horses. Right. We have a cool picture of Edwin Harrington picking up a pipe in downtown Philadelphia with an old wire rope hoist. So
that's great.
yeah, that's really cool.
So you're based in Manheim, PA.
Yep.
And the corporation that, I guess the corporate for Harrington is out of Japan.
Correct. Yeah. So that's Keto. So
Keto.
Yep. Harrington is one of our brands, if you will, but Keto is based out of Yamanashi, Japan.
All right. So does that affect worldwide branding? Like between, like you got what's something in Japan versus something in the States? Are there differences?
Sure. So there are definitely some geographical differences. Geographical, that's it. I knew how to do it. Differences, or some products are more prevalent in Japan or vice versa. But the Harrington brand name is known in the Americas, so United States, Mexico, and Central America. Everywhere else in the world is going to be labeled Keto.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about the main product categories. In our discussion, we came up with 3. Do you want to take this? You want to talk a little bit about the jerk? What are the types of products that we offer through Air Power?
Well, through Air Power, we offer both the wire rope and the chain hoist. When we're talking about the wire rope, we're in the higher lifting categories. What is the highest wire rope you're doing now? 10 ton is our bread and butter. 10 ton is that sweet spot down to 2 ton. With Air Power, we typically stay wire rope. We're loyal to Harrington because we know they're going to take care of our customers and they're going to fill that niche. 2 ton down, we tend to sell more electric chain hoist simply because they're prevalent. They're everywhere in the industry. We know when we sell one, that's going to be a happy customer. Just the phenomenal lifespan. If you look at the hoist as a buy, apples to apples, there's not a lot of difference. What's setting to me Harrington apart is just the main wear item is the brake. So if I've got a unit that has at least a 5-year brake, like we see here on the table, or in the SCR, NER category, it's got a 10-year, not a manufacturer defect warranty, but a wear warranty. The Guardian Smart Brake is just, it's hard to find something sexy about a hoist. But the fact you're never going to have to worry about it going down or causing you a problem, and if you are, you've got a factory standing behind you for the next 10 years, that's a decade worth of lift that you don't have to worry about.
Yep. So we've got manual hoists, which are the 2 categories are level puller and hand chain hoist.
Yeah. So we sell a lot of those to construction markets, to maybe a power plant where they're doing outages. They'll suck up a lot of those kind of products. So,
okay.
Yep. All right. Our first section.
And that is not a section that Air Power is
not
historically involved in when you mentioned the construction market.
Right. It's usually more like the rigging shop type guys.
And then electric chain hoist.
Mm-hmm.
And that I want to talk about light rail and the jib cranes, because jib cranes, we know at Air Power, that's kind of like a key category,
right,
for us. Can you talk about light rail and jib cranes?
Yeah, so a lot of our hoists, especially in the 2 ton under, which Mike had touched on, that's really the sweet spot for electric chain hoists, matches up really well with light rail. So that's more of an ergonomic or material handling side of the business, which is what your Air Power really flourishes in.
All right. Cranes, bridge cranes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you talk about jib cranes yet?
I just said it briefly.
Yes.
The only reason I heard on that.
You want to expand on that?
Well, yeah. And then, so the third category would be full crane systems, which we manufacture those in Manheim. And whenever I tell anybody I work for a hoist and crane company, the first crane they think of is huge overhead cranes at a construction site. That's not what we do. We do the bridge cranes. So inside of manufacturing facilities, the I-beam cranes, we build those in Manheim. And like we talked about, the sweet spot is kind of 10 ton and under for us.
Okay.
And that's another really large growing area for you guys with some really nice projects. from this year. The big differentiation is everybody says cranes, and they're thinking about something they're passing on the interstate as he's pulling up to the building and raising the big boom up with 4 wheels and setting an air conditioner up on top. That's not the ballgame we're playing at. We're playing in that plane's got to efficiently and effectively move part A to part B inside the walls of their structure. Correct. So that's the ballgame we're going to market with. Yep.
All right. We talked a little bit about your lab, the training lab, but part of that, I wanted to pitch a question to you that is Harrington continuously developing products or looking at, other things that you guys could do out there for the market?
Absolutely. So Harrington Keto philosophy is kind of every 10 years, we want to bring out some sort of new technology to the industry. So we believe in being the safest and most efficient hoist company in the world. So obviously safety is number one. We talked about it. There's a lot of bodybuilders out there, but if you're picking up a ton, that can be very dangerous. So safety is number one. But yeah, some of the new products we released specifically for that light rail market was our SEQ hoist. And we've had great success with it. It's a 1-ton under product, and it comes standard with a VFD now. So the VFDs are let's call it the upgrade to contactors. Contactor control hoists are push-pull system. They burn out. You have to replace them every couple months, whatever it might be, how much they're using it. With the VFD, it's kind of the brains of the hoist and creating more of an intelligent lift with 2-speed positions.
I know what VFD stands for on the finishing side. When I'm talking about an oven, what does VFD stand for in that world?
Variable frequency drive.
Same
word. There you go. Same word. Yeah, they eliminated a major wear spot by going to it. But yeah, right. It's like a light switch. You can't turn it on and off with so many times and you're going to burn something out. Yeah, this is like an automatic dimmer switch. It turns on when I come in the room. It turns off when I don't go.
Yeah, it's very smart technology. So it extends wear life as well.
It protects your hoist, really. It's that VFD slows it down just to a minuscule amount where everything in your hoist isn't working. It's almost, so the brake we talked briefly about, 5-year warranty, it's almost a parking brake at that point.
What works out really well with the two of our companies working together?
There's a lot of good stuff.
Well, touch on it. Like
the factory support, it's application specialist sorts. Yeah, there we go. Business.
Hey, man, I love it.
It allows us a partnership because we sell a tremendous amount of light rail because our job is to make sure that plant functions competitively. The light rail will just allow you to convey it, not pick it up. A Harrington Hoist, I know, is going to allow me to service that customer's needs long term. We're going to pick it up. We're going to do it smartly. We're going to do it quickly. And we're going to do it for the long term. We don't have to worry about the wear. And the factory support we get is phenomenal. I just came back from the Harrington School, and I've been doing this 32 years, and I learn new things every time they open the topic.
Wow. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I just want to go right into it. Let's talk about the Harrington School. Let's talk about your lab.
Okay.
Because apparently you guys have something in your lab that's pretty cool. A lot of something's in your lab.
We try to.
Yeah, it's special.
We do. So a couple years ago, I got tapped to become the new academy instructor, we call it. But it's a 2-day class where we bring distributors in from all over the country, and we want to train them about Harrington Hoists. And the way we do it is we believe putting our product up in front of all of our competitors' products and do a very hands-on demonstration. All right. So we'll pass parts around. We'll run different electric chain hoists. We'll do all kinds of stuff throughout the PowerPoint, and it's a really fun training.
You're like, here's all the competitors. Try them really quick, and now try this one.
Pick your poison, right? So we think it's a really...
Or here's exactly what you have in your plan.
Yeah.
Now try this one.
Right. And exactly. We want to educate not only distributors, but the end user who don't know anything different, right? They've been doing something the same for 50 years. They don't realize there's anything new out there. And that's the other reason why I think us and Air Power did really well together is you guys are great at going in, educating that end user on, hey, you don't have to replace your brake every 2 months. Let's look at something different. Let's try something else in this scenario. So it's been a great partnership. And I'll add this. So not only do they say, okay, try this hoist, now try this hoist, now try this hoist. And I mean, there's a broad gambit here. They say here is the pocket wheel, which is the part of a hoist that physically the chain goes over. So every time it goes up or down, this is where I am. So here's our chain hoist pocket wheel. Here's theirs, and here's theirs. Here's why we think ours is better. Here's why we don't go to this philosophy. There's maybe 2 moving parts where the competitor B is 5 moving parts because there's more things to wear. Anytime you have a single casting, you've got a single thing that's having to utilize by something that's 3 parts meshing together every time that it's going to wear. There's just no way around it, right? So it takes you to the point where you're not just learning what it does and how it does. You're learning why it was designed to do what it's doing.
That's pretty intelligent education.
We try. We definitely try.
How many do you normally take through the school at a time?
We try to keep it somewhat small, so anywhere from 12 to 15 distributors will come in, and it's great networking too. Not only are we talking hoist, but everyone gets to talk and learn different part of our industry.
Yep. So, a company the size of ours, you would probably do a school for just Air Power's team at one time.
We have in the past, yeah. We try and mix it because we do want that camaraderie between different people and new people, but yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So, how does Harrington stand up to the competition in the wear zones? You talked about that a little bit, but we have 3 things we discussed that we wanted to hit.
Yeah.
So we're going to touch on brakes, we're going to touch on duty cycle, and maintenance.
All right.
So who wants to take brakes?
Sure, I'll take brakes. I love brakes. Like I said, we converted hundreds of boys because of brakes. But brakes inherently are the number 1 maintenance item on any electric chain hoist. If you walk into a plant that's using a competitor's hoist, most likely they have some sort of brake pads up there that they have to stock to completely reassemble and change every, let's say, a couple months.
Well, I mean, I can imagine, I don't know the numbers on it or anything, but I can imagine you're dealing with, you've got really heavy objects. Brakes have a very important job. A safety critical job. So you've got to make sure that something has absolutely impeccable brake stoppage, right?
Sure, absolutely. And with the technology that was out there before we mentioned the Guardian Smart Breakage, which is our brake, was old antiquated technology. It was more of a mash style brake with brake pads inside. We created a whole new brake that's a DC current style brake, uses very small line voltage, and it acts as an oldie brake. I mean, it really is amazing, and there's no brake pads to replace. So we touched on it for a second, but 10-year brake warranty, not for manufacturer's defect, that's to wear.
Yep.
And if that would go bad, we'll send you a new one.
Let me ask you a really dumb question, because I believe the dumb questions are also good questions. These are powered, right?
Sure.
Power goes out.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with the brake?
It holds. So with our brake style, it's a fail-safe design. So what it means is it can't be single phase, which is kicking the line of power. Specifically, that single phase power would actually open the brake. When there's no power going to the hoist, it cannot unlock. Yep.
All right.
So yeah, good.
All right. Duty cycle. Oh, how long was the brake warranty?
10 years.
10 years.
Yes, usage warranty. I have yet in my territory to send a new one out.
Wow. So to replace.
Yes, since 2008, so when we launched that brake style.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's already.
Yeah, well, yeah, 13 years.
20, best 15.
15 years. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Duty cycle. You're up.
For years and years, the downplay to the electric hoist was a limited duty cycle because of the contactors. They'd get hot. The hoist would get hot. Electric motors and heat don't pair well together. With the addition of the BFDs and the smarter things that Harrington has done in their design to limit heat, such as the NER has a fan motor beside the brake and beside the motor itself, they just blows ambient air over, just dissipating heat. It's an H4, and Harrington calls it, and I learned this at the academy, H4 plus. H4 is 100% continuous duty cycle. So that's where now you're starting to see the electric and the air hoist market And when you think about the cost of air, and we primarily use electric hoist when we're with Harrington, they do offer air chain hoist. Some applications require it. But when you think about what air costs you to breathe is free, but try to compress it for free. It's not going to happen. So now you're a whole lot more efficient. You've got the duty cycle of air without the problems that come with air. With air, you have to lubricate it to make it last long. Air power is synonymous with finishing. You can't put paint down with oil in it. It can be oil-based paint, but it's a different lubricant. So now you're going to have some big-time
Outer spouting. You don't want any oil.
Yeah, you know,
in there.
So you got a 100% clean environment. One of the most impressive things I saw when I was at the Harrington Academy, their hoist going in and out of the paint booth. It probably had, what's the nickname of it? The Godfather. Because it probably had 30 years worth of paint on it and was still functioning fine because of the internal design that they done with the contactless hoist, with the constant airflow of a fan motor inside, just to keep it cool. It's like running your car with the radiator. Take all the water out of the radiator, you won't go far.
Yep.
And that's what the majority of the competitors are doing. They're using a hoist that's not 100% duty cycle rated.
Okay. Last one, maintenance.
Yeah, so every hoist needs to be maintenance, no matter what you do.
A lot of
Sure, but certain things that we do different than everybody is we make everything accessible. So a lot of our competitors, you have to rip the entire hoist apart to get to a wear part, right? Called the chain guide. You take the whole hoist apart, get to the chain guide. For ours, it's 4 bolts. If you had to change it, easily changeable. Plug-in cords. Everyone's going to break a pendant. People run into them all the time. You might have a plug-in cord just to get up there on the main lift and screw it in instead of taking the hoist out, completely rewire it. Saves a lot of downtime. And downtime is the most costly thing you can have in any manufacturing facility.
I think I said PE. I meant PL. You're ready for reset. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for reset.
Yeah.
All right. So, a lot of times when, Air Power, or the way we go to market is we have account managers on the ground all over our territory. They do a great job knocking doors, developing relationships. When the account manager finds out, hey, I have an opportunity here, that's when they come to you typically.
They'll pick up the phone and say, or they'll call their local factory, Harrington.
Or they could call him direct.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but I want to kind of get the understanding of how we deal with that. Like when the account manager calls in, is it an all heads meet and try to figure out what the best solution is? Typically,
if they say, I've got to have a hoist, I'm going to say, okay, what are you lifting?
Mm-hmm.
What is the environment it's going in? How high are you picking it up? And what are you hanging it from? And what kind of, do they have 460, 230, single phase, 3-phase? How am I going to power it? Or does it have to be a Harrington air hoist? I'll ask those questions. Tony will ask those questions. Pete Weimer, our local guy for the Carolinas, will help guide us through asking those questions. And after that is simply about what kind of chain container do you want? What's your header? Is the customer, do they have a brand preference? And if they did have a brand preference and it's not Harrington, hey, you talk to them about what the total cost of ownership is.
yeah.
Because we're trying to sell not just a hoist, we're trying to sell the Air Power partnership. And the Harrington hoist allows us to build upon that because we know we're going to save them money in the long term and be a long-term player.
How does a hoist promote plant efficiencies?
Oh, downtime. If your hoist is running, you don't have to be out fixing it. Your plant's running, right? So if you have to pick up a widget every 10 minutes and you're out there fixing your hoist, that line is down. The longer we can make that hoist running at 100% efficiency, the better.
So that coupled with the speed of the hoist, what it's able to do.
Yep, sure.
Is a big part of it. How often do you have to have super precision control with the hoist?
It's pretty often. I mean, especially having a dual speed inside of your hoist is probably one of the best things you can do for a lot of manufacturers because you can get a high speed and also a low speed. So if you're picking up something that you need to get up out of the way real quick, or maybe you're dropping down a piece of marble, but you don't want to jog it, you can go down to real slow, almost crawl speed to set it down and not break anything. So,
Well, one addition that Harrington offers with the VFD is the limit levels. So you can go ahead and program so that the operator doesn't just sit there, turn their back, hit the up button, and it runs 10 feet in the air. You can set that upper limit or lower limit so they're always within their work envelope. So they're not having to wait for the hoist that is over traveled to come back. If it's a heavy load at a slower speed, that could be minutes saved in production. Also, with the Harrington Hoist on an empty hook on certain models, travels 30% faster than its high speed limit based on the model and the load.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about, I'm going to post a question to you both.
okay.
We didn't plan on this, but I'm going to push this out there.
All right.
Let's get what we got. So here's air hoist versus electric hoist. Go.
So there's different applications for each, right? And Mike touched on it. The biggest selling point in air hoist 40, 50 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, was unlimited duty cycle. But with how the H4 ratings have been on our new hoist, it's kind of switched more to the electric style. Mike, what do you think?
Same thing. And we sell a lot of air hoist, and air hoists have their place in the game.
Definitely.
The cost of ownership, because when you buy an air hoist and electric hoist, there's not a lot of difference in price. But there's a lot of difference in price when you're trying to go up and down at 60 cubic feet a minute in air as a minimum. So you're chewing up air, so that's a non-renewable resource.
Right.
And there's also a utility drain because I'm having to pay the utilities to run the compressor to make the air, to make my hoist go up and down, where I can use electricity just to go up and down.
Yep.
And do it with smart controls. Now that with the VFD, it's featherable. That was always the big draw to an air hoist. You could feather it and slow it down and get it really creep. With a VFD, you can do that now with electric. So basically, it's automatic to manual transmission. When the Model T came out, everything worked with the straight gear, and you either learn to push a clutch or push a car. Now it's automatic, and they've made it easy for anybody to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned,
As you can tell, I'm passionate about material.
we've talked a couple of times about compressed air that came up about, how the cost. And most people in the manufacturing space do understand this, but some may not, that compressed air, although it's often forgotten, it's over there and it's being produced magically by some cylinder and all this stuff. And, but it is the most expensive resource that you have, a utility or a resource that you have in your plant. And if you can cut back on that in any way, it's profitability.
Absolutely.
All right. So we did well on that one. Number 2. All right. We'll throw this one at you guys. 3 things not to do with your hoist.
Oh, man. Well, I'll do the first one. Rigging off with your hoist chain. So guys will they'll take the load chain, they'll go around a pipe and hook it off to itself. There's slings, there's blow hook lifters to do that with. We see that every single day.
All right.
Ugly.
A second thing,
Trying to use your hoist to drag something across the floor. You have no idea how many times I'll sell a hoist system and they'll say I want it 25 feet wide. Bridge crane 25 feet wide. Oh yeah, that's plenty big. And then they're over here 35 feet from the highway trying to hook something. They'll just keep paying up and then try to drag it. It's not good for the hoist. It's not good for the floor. It's not good for the operator that's trying to pick it up, because when they do come underneath, we have a guillotine now coming straight across at you when they clears the ground. It's just not a good practice.
oh,
So we call it yarding, where you're taking the cable and pulling it at goofy angles. The chain was meant to go up and down. Get the overhead where it goes up and down, and you're in a good environment.
all right. Number 3.
I would say jogging or shock loading hoist. So jogging happens every single day where a guy's trying to position something and they're taking a pen and going down, down, down. Puts tremendous stress on the hoist. The The largest part of that, though, is shock loading. If it was ever on the side of the table or something, the guy at the jogging wasn't watching, that chain is coming down. If that would fall, the chain could catch it, but it could destroy it. Hoist, it could pull down, upward, whatever.
That would put
Very dangerous.
either one of those, I would imagine, would put unsurmountable stress on the brake
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and put yourself at a potential risk failure.
Sure.
All right. Is that it, or do you have any others that you want to add to that?
Well, people are people, and it's all. There's always going to be something.
We can only overcome so much.
Yeah, you never want to hear this. Hey, hold my beer.
You just thought you did it better.
That's right. All right, guys. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it was my pleasure.
It's awesome. Hopefully we'll get you in here on another podcast.
Travis,
Tony, it was awesome.
Thank you so much.
thanks for coming down, Donnie.
Yeah, that's all great. All right, so anything that you heard, or if you just want to say hi to these fellas, 1-800-334-1001. Say that again. 1-800-334-1001 or airpower-USA.com. For all of the other podcasts, you can go to airpowerairwaves.com. All right, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to end this podcast by saying what I always say: manufacture it a great day.
Thank you for joining the Air Power Airwaves podcast. Air Power Airwaves is a production of Air Power Inc. and Air Power Live Studios and is hosted by Travis Steyerwalt. For more information, please visit airpowerairwaves.com. For more information on all of our products, brands, and manufacturing solutions, please visit airpower-USA.com. If you have any questions or need product support, please contact Air Power at 1-800-334-1001.